The town of Hinton respectfully acknowledges located on the traditional lands. We recognize this traditional territory to show respect and understanding to those who walk this land since time immemorial. Today, we uphold our ongoing responsibility to work together in the spirit of the intent of the treaties with all the First Peoples and nations that call this place home. The town expresses gratitude for the opportunity to build a better community on these sacred lands for generations to come. With that, we will call this special council meeting for June 11th, 2024 to order. Adoption of the agenda. Council, are there any additions or deletions to the, oh no, there cannot be. This is a special meeting, so adoption of the agenda. Councillor Haas.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to move that we adopt the agenda of special meeting of council for June 11th, 2024.
Thank you, Councillor Haas. Council, the motion on the floor is that council adopt the agenda as presented. Any discussion? Seeing nothing, councillors, please vote now. Councillor Taylor voting in favor by hand. And that motion is carried unanimously. Item 3.1 of the agenda, Chamber Partnership for Community Facility Enhancement Program, CAO Panasic.
Thank you, Mayor. I will turn this over to Ms. Juke.
Thank you. And through the chair to the rest of council, the report before you tonight is to request council approve the town of Hinton entering into a partnership with the Hinton and District Chamber of Commerce to enable the parties to apply for a Community Facility Enhancement Program grant or CFEP grant. This grant application follows the town of Hinton achieving a $2.4 million FRIA grant which was announced in the spring of this year, and which will complete, the FRIA grant will complete 85% of the boardwalk rehabilitation. This is to achieve funding for the remaining 15%. The grant amount being sought is up to $1 million, and the project is, as mentioned, 15% of the Beaver Boardwalk rehabilitation, not currently funded by the grant, FRIA grant, specifically rebuilding the tower and repairing the sunken boardwalk along Reimer Drive. The first step is to submit an expression of interest accompanied by council's partnership approval and the letter of support requested. And just to outline the roles of the parties, the chamber will manage the payables and receivables, and town administration will manage basically everything else with regards to the project, from the grant writing through the project work by contractor and grant reporting at the end. The EOI submission, which is where we're at in the process with this one, the window closes June 15th. So this is a pretty prompt turnaround we'll be doing. And with that, I'll take any questions that you might have.
Thank you, Ms. Juke. Councillor Taylor.
I'd like to go with the recommended action that council directs administration to provide a letter of support of the partnership with the Hinton Chamber of Commerce to apply for a community facilities enhancement program for grant funds towards the completion of the boardwalk rehabilitation project.
Thank you, Councillor Taylor. Council, the motion on the floor is that council directs administration to provide a letter in support of a partnership with the Hinton Chamber of Commerce to apply for the Community Facilities Enhancement Program for grant funds towards the completion of boardwalk rehabilitation work. Is there any discussion? Councillor Ostashik.
Thank you, Mayor Nissen. Just really quickly, I just want to speak in favor of this. And I think this is actually a really interesting grant opportunity. It broadens this beyond just a town municipal project and brings in one of the most visible nonprofits in our community that represents the business community too, making the Beaver Boardwalk, which always was a community driven project, back into that community supported, community driven and community stakeholder vein that it was originally brought forward in. So I fully appreciate this, and I certainly hope that the grant application is successful. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Ostashik. Council, anything further? Seeing nothing, we'll call the question. Councillors, please vote now. Councillors Taylor and Race voting in favor by hand, and that motion is carried unanimously. I would like to thank administration and everybody that's been working so hard on this Beaver Boardwalk project. I'd like to echo Councillor Ostashik's statements. This is a community-driven project, and the amount of dedication and the work gone into this so far is just phenomenal, and I'm excited to see this moving forward. Councillors, is there anything else for item 3.1 on the agenda this evening? Seeing nothing, we'll move to item 3.2, seconding Town of Coronations ABMunis resolution. CAO Panasic.
Thank you, Mayor, members of council. So I'm bringing this forward. I just wanted to remind council that the town of Coronation had agreed to second one of our resolutions. The town of Coronation actually missed the original deadline for submission, but they have received some grace from Alberta municipalities in the submitting of a seconding. So I appreciate dealing with it at a special so the town can submit their resolution in a timely manner. But the resolution that you have in front of you is in relation to the ARO obligations or the asset retirement obligations. This was something that we were notified was going to come into effect, I believe, in 2018 or 2019. It would come into effect for the 2023 audited financial season. And really what it does, and it is a large process that we undertook. But it all has to do with the accurate accounting of the end of life obligations for your assets, specifically your buildings. So many communities in Alberta have gone out, they've hired consultants to go in and they actually have to get estimates in relation to things such as their buildings, what they have. The asbestos is a major X factor in a lot of these estimates that have to get at that the municipality must ensure that it's accurate. So it is a large, burdensome process. We were fortunate here at the town of Hinton. We have pretty good we have pretty good data on our municipal buildings. We didn't have to go out and hire anybody to do this work for us. We were able to do it internally with some of the reports that we have done in the past. But, talking about the town of Coronation, they are a smaller municipality. Some of the training is more difficult. Some of the data may not be available. So, there is a recognition that this is more of a hardship on smaller municipalities than it may be for an organization like ours. But with that being said, even for us, that this did delay our audited financials by about a week when we were doing our 2023 numbers. So, we wanted to bring this forward under by the request of the town of Coronation for consideration of seconding this resolution for the 24 convention.
Thank you, CAO Panasic. Councillor Stashik.
Thank you, Mayor Nissen. I just have a quick question. This being kind of an administrative action, it's not really too much on my radar up to this point as a councillor. So not being super familiar, I understand the town of Coronation and the town of Hinton to some extent both had challenges in committing time and financial resources to being able to commit to that. In administration's opinion and discussing with other administrative professionals, is this a problem that is widespread across municipalities throughout Alberta?
CAO Panasic.
Yeah, through the chair to members of council. Yes, I would say it is. Certainly, it's probably more of a topic of conversation at the financial level and how you manage these. It is more of a technical problem, but it is something that was, probably caused a lot of municipalities some angst this year in implementing this for the first time. So, it is a burdensome process, but like I said, especially for small municipalities, these types of regulatory changes are a little bit harder on them when you have very few staff to navigate some of these challenges. Just so council's fully aware that, it does, adding this into our financial statements does give us some benefit. And it provides us the ability to seek outside lenders other than our Alberta Capital Finance Authority. So there is some benefit to it. We don't always have to go through through that municipal route for borrowing or lending, depending on the competitive rates, especially since they have eliminated preferential rates for municipalities. So it does provide some benefit to us tangibly, and it's all about materially stating your financial your financial obligations correctly. We've done this for many, many years on things like landfills and with the landfill authority. This is very similar just with our municipal buildings.
Thank you, CO Panasic. Follow-up?
Thank you.
Nope.
Thank you, Councillor Stashik. Councillor Stashik.
And since nobody else was jumping, I'd like to make the recommended action, please. Like to move that council approve of being the seconder on the town of Coronations ABMunis resolution requesting financial support and tools from the province to enable communities to comply with PS 3280 asset retirement obligation reporting. If I could speak to it quickly.
Please.
I think this is a responsible resolution to put forward. If the province is mandating that municipalities take this action and do this reporting, I think it's incumbent on them to provide some support to be able to do that. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Stashik. Council, the motion on the floor is that council approve of being the seconder on the town of Coronations ABMunis resolution requesting financial support and tools from the province to enable communities to comply with PS 3280 asset retirement obligation reporting. Councillor Haas.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, I will be in support of this and thank town of Coronation for bringing it forward, because I think this is just another example of the province calling upon municipalities to provide information. But in these times of, budgeting and not thinking of the financial consequences to this. So I think this is another example of ABMunis going to advocate for us as municipalities to the province, to think about that before they initiate these types of things that we must comply with. So I'm fully in favor of this. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Haas. Council, anything further? Seeing nothing, we'll call the question. The council approve of being the seconder of the town of Coronations ABMunis resolution requesting financial support and tools from the province to enable communities to comply with PS 3280 asset retirement obligation reporting. Councillors, please vote now. Councillor Race and Taylor voting in favor by hand, and that motion is carried unanimously. Councillor Haas.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to move to adjourn.
Thank you, Councillor Haas. Council, the motion on the floor is to adjourn. That's going to come up any moment now, I'm sure. Councillors, please vote now. Councillor Race and Taylor voting in favor by hand, and that motion is carried unanimously. We are adjourned. Thank you, everybody.